What happens when the 24-year-old son of a retired Mafia boss assaults a 56-year-old small restaurant owner who refuses to pay protection money, then walks into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom openly explaining family customs, claiming that people who don't cooperate suffer consequences, and insisting his family keeps the neighborhood safe? This young man is about to discover that certain family traditions are federal crimes. One phone call to the FBI can trigger a RICO investigation. And one moment of pride in organized crime heritage can cause a father to be arrested in under 45 seconds, but what makes this case devastating isn't just the assault or the extortion scheme. It's what happened when Judge Caprio placed a live call to the FBI's Organized Crime Task Force. And within 45 seconds of hearing Vincent proudly explain La Cosa Nostra's operational structure, federal agents stormed the courtroom, arresting his supposedly retired father and transforming Vincent's own testimony into a federal RICO confession. It's a Thursday afternoon in Providence Municipal Court. Vincent Russo, age 24, son of Anthony "Tony the Hammer" Russo, a supposedly retired organized crime figure, stands charged with assault and extortion stemming from an incident at Bella Cusina restaurant in Federal Hill 5 days earlier. The victim is 56-year-old Thomas Chan, owner of Bella Cusina, a small family restaurant he has operated for 12 years. According to reports, Vincent entered the restaurant demanding $2,000 in monthly protection payments, claiming it was a neighborhood tradition. When Thomas refused, Vincent assaulted him, causing facial injuries and shattering his glasses. When Providence police officer Maria Rodriguez arrived to arrest Vincent, he was calm, dismissive, and unconcerned. "Officer, you don't understand how Federal Hill works," he said. "Talk to my father. He'll explain the neighborhood arrangements. This is a family matter, not a police matter." Officer Rodriguez arrested him anyway, though Vincent's references to neighborhood arrangements and his father immediately raised organized crime red flags. Now Vincent enters Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, and everything about his appearance broadcasts organized crime culture and entitlement. He's dressed in expensive Italian tailoring, a perfectly tailored suit, gold jewelry, designer shoes, slicked back hair. He walks with the confidence of someone raised around power, someone who believes his family name carries protection. Behind him sits his father, Anthony "Tony the Hammer" Russo, age 62, wearing an expensive suit, attempting to appear like a legitimate businessman, yet unmistakably carrying the posture of a man who spent decades in organized crime. Judge Caprio watches the entrance closely. The presentation is deliberate, intimidating. Organized crime theater. The bailiff calls the case, the state of Rhode Island versus Vincent Anthony Russo. Charges: assault and battery, extortion. Judge Caprio reviews the file carefully. Extortion charges paired with the Russo name carry obvious implications. "Mr. Russo, how do you plead?" Vincent stands casually, adjusting his suit jacket. "Not guilty, Your Honor." This is a misunderstanding of how business operates in Federal Hill. Mr. Chen is new to the neighborhood culture. He's Chinese, not Italian. He doesn't understand our traditions. The casual blending of ethnicity and organized crime lands heavily in the courtroom. Judge Caprio's expression tightens. "Mr. Russo, explain what you mean by neighborhood culture and traditions." Vincent speaks confidently, as if explaining something self-evident. "Your Honor, Federal Hill has been run by Italian families for generations. My grandfather, my father, now me. We've protected businesses here for decades. When someone opens a restaurant in our neighborhood, we offer protection services. It's tradition. Mr. Chen opened without consulting my family. That's disrespectful." "Mr. Russo, are you describing a protection racket?" "No, Your Honor. I'm describing cooperation. Businesses pay a monthly fee and we make sure nothing bad happens. It's worked for 50 years. Mr. Chen refused to participate. That's not how things work in Federal Hill. If you're not subscribed, hit that button now, because what happens next proves that some traditions are federal crimes. "Mr. Chen, please come forward." A man approaches the front of the courtroom. He is 56 years old, Asian American, wearing simple but neat clothing. Fading bruises mark his face. His glasses are taped together, clearly not yet replaced. "Mr. Chen, please tell the court what happened." Thomas speaks steadily, though the strain is evident. "Your Honor, I'm 56 years old. I came to America from Taiwan 30 years ago. I worked in restaurants my entire life, dishwasher, cook, server. 12 years ago, I saved enough to open my own restaurant, Bella Cusina, in Federal Hill. I cook Italian food. I learned from Italian chefs I worked with for 20 years. I respect the culture. I thought Federal Hill was the right place. 5 days ago, this young man," he gestures toward Vincent, "came into my restaurant during dinner service. He sat at the bar, ordered nothing, just watched. After the rush ended, he approached me. He said, 'You've been open 6 months. My family hasn't received your first payment. I was confused. I asked, what payment? He said, protection. $2,000 a month. That's how business works here. I told him I don't pay protection money to anyone. He said, my father is Tony Russo. You need to understand how Federal Hill operates. Businesses that don't cooperate have problems. I told him to leave. He said, problems like fires, health inspections, accidents. You choose. $2,000 a month, or we make your life difficult. Thomas pauses, swallowing hard. I said no. That's when he punched me in the face, knocked my glasses off, and shoved me into a table. The courtroom is silent. Judge Caprio looks at Vincent. Mr. Russo, you just heard testimony describing extortion and assault. How do you respond? Vincent shrugs. Your Honor, he disrespected my family. We don't tolerate that. My father taught me that cooperation keeps neighborhoods safe. People who refuse bring trouble on themselves. Judge Caprio leans forward. Your father taught you this? Yes. This is how things have always worked. Judge Caprio turns to the clerk. Clerk, I need an immediate call to the FBI Organized Crime Task Force. Vincent's confidence doesn't waver. Go ahead, Your Honor. My father's retired. There's nothing to investigate. Within moments, a voice comes through the speakerphone. This is Special Agent Daniel Morales, FBI Organized Crime Task Force. Judge Caprio speaks calmly. Agent Morales, thank you for taking this call. I have you on speakerphone in Providence Municipal Court. I am hearing an assault and extortion case involving Vincent Russo, son of Anthony Tony the Hammer Russo. Agent, Mr. Russo has just described an ongoing protection payment system enforced through violence, operated by his family in Federal Hill for decades. He has openly explained structure, enforcement, and threats. There is a brief pause, then Agent Morales speaks. Your Honor, Mr. Russo has just described an active racketeering enterprise under federal law. Vincent's expression finally changes. Within 45 seconds, federal agents enter the courtroom. Anthony Russo is placed in handcuffs. Anthony Russo, you are under arrest for racketeering, extortion, and conspiracy under RICO statutes. Vincent screams, Dad. Judge Caprio addresses Vincent calmly. Mr. Russo, your family traditions are federal crimes. Vincent is sentenced to prison for assault and extortion. Anthony Russo faces decades under RICO. Thomas Chen keeps his restaurant, and Federal Hill learns that intimidation doesn't survive daylight. If this story moved you, subscribe for more moments where Judge Frank Caprio proves that no family name, no tradition, and no criminal legacy places anyone above the law. Justice served, racket exposed, power broken. I said, I'm calling the police. He grabbed me by my shirt, pulled me close, and said, nobody calls the police on the Russo family. That's not how this works. Then he punched me in the face. My glasses shattered. I fell to the floor. He kicked me while I was down and said, next time, show respect. Then he walked out. I called the police, but I'm scared. I'm scared to reopen my restaurant. I'm scared they'll come back. Judge Caprio's face shows deep anger and concern. Mr. Chen, I'm very sorry this happened to you. Do you have security at your restaurant now? I can't afford security, Your Honor. I closed the restaurant. I lost 2 weeks of income. I might lose my business. Vincent interrupts, sounding irritated. Your Honor, Mr. Chen is exaggerating. We offered him a business arrangement. He refused in a disrespectful way. In our culture, disrespect requires a physical response. It's not personal. It's how respect works in Italian neighborhoods. Anthony Russo, Vincent's father, shifts uncomfortably in his seat but says nothing. Judge Caprio turns directly to Vincent. Mr. Russo, you just described extortion as a business arrangement and assault as a response to disrespect. Where did you learn these ideas? Vincent gestures proudly toward his father. From my father. From my grandfather. From our family. The Russo family has protected Federal Hill for 3 generations. My father taught me how the neighborhood operates, how to identify businesses that need protection, how to calculate fair monthly fees based on revenue, and how to handle people who don't cooperate. It's family tradition. Mr. Russo, are you saying your father taught you to extort businesses? Not extort, Your Honor. Protect. There's a difference. We make sure nothing bad happens. Businesses that pay are safe. Businesses that don't pay, well, bad things happen. Fires. Break-ins. Vandalism. That's just reality. We're providing a service. Judge Caprio signals for the restaurant's security footage from Bella Cucina. The monitor comes to life. Dinner service is underway. Tables are full. Vincent enters and sits at the bar, watching. Later, after customers leave, Vincent approaches Thomas at the register. A conversation. Thomas shakes his head, no. Vincent leans in close, clearly threatening. Thomas backs away and pulls out his phone. Vincent grabs Thomas by the shirt, pulls him close, speaks directly into his face, then punches him. Thomas falls. Vincent kicks him once while he's down, then calmly walks out. When the footage ends, the courtroom is silent. Judge Caprio turns to Vincent. Mr. Russo, that video shows you assaulting Mr. Chen after he refused to pay protection money. Vincent shrugs. Your Honor, what you're seeing is a business negotiation that turned physical because Mr. Chen was disrespectful in Federal Hill. This is normal. My father will tell you businesses understand how this works. They've been paying for decades. Mr. Chen is the only one who refused. He's trying to operate outside the system. Anthony Russo suddenly stands at Vincent. Stop talking. Dad, it's fine. The judge needs to understand our family business. Vincent, be quiet. Now. But Vincent keeps going, turning back to the court. Your Honor, my family aren't criminals. We're businessmen. My father ran protection services in Federal Hill for 40 years. When he retired 2 years ago, I took over. It's a legitimate operation. We have a list of 47 businesses that pay monthly. They all understand the arrangement. Mr. Chen is the first person to refuse in 5 years. That's why I had to make an example. Other businesses were watching. If we let one person refuse, the whole system collapses. Anthony Russo puts his head in his hands. He knows his son has just confessed to racketeering in open court. Judge Caprio's expression becomes deadly serious. Mr. Russo, you just described an organized protection racket involving 47 businesses over multiple years. You described making an example of those who refuse. You stated your father ran this operation for 40 years before handing it to you. Do you understand what you just admitted? Vincent looks genuinely confused. I admitted my family runs protection services in Federal Hill. That's not a crime, Your Honor. That's business. Every Italian neighborhood in America has families like ours. It's cultural. My father taught me we're not doing anything wrong. We maintain order in our community. Judge Caprio makes a decision that will permanently destroy the Russo family's criminal enterprise. Clerk, I need immediate phone calls. Contact the FBI Organized Crime Task Force. Also contact the U.S. Attorney's Office, RICO Division. Vincent's confident expression finally cracks. Your Honor, why are you calling the FBI? This is a simple assault case. Mr. Russo, you just described a multi-decade racketeering operation involving extortion of 47 businesses. That is not simple assault. That is organized crime. Anthony Russo stands, panicked. Your Honor, my son doesn't understand what he's saying. He's young. He doesn't understand legal terminology. Mr. Russo, Judge Caprio says calmly, your son just explained exactly how La Cosa Nostra operations function. He's given details about succession, territory, systematic extortion, and enforcement through violence. Sit down. Within minutes, two voices come through the courtroom speakerphone. This is Special Agent Robert Martinez, FBI Organized Crime Task Force. This is Assistant U.S. Attorney Sarah Park, RICO Division. Judge Caprio addresses them both. Agent Martinez, Attorney Park, thank you for taking this urgent call. You're on speakerphone in Providence Municipal Court. I'm presiding over an assault case involving Vincent Russo, son of Anthony Tony the Hammer Russo. Agent Martinez responds immediately. Your Honor, we're very familiar with the Russo family. They've been on our radar for 30 years. Anthony Russo is a suspected organized crime figure. Vincent interrupts. Suspected? My father ran Federal Hill protection for 40 years. That's not suspected. That's family business. The courtroom goes completely silent. Anthony Russo looks like he's about to have a heart attack. Judge Caprio continues. Agent Martinez, Attorney Park, Vincent Russo has made extensive statements in my courtroom. He stated his father ran protection services in Federal Hill for 40 years before handing control to him 2 years ago. He described systematic extortion of 47 businesses paying monthly fees. He stated businesses that refuse face problems such as fires, health inspections, and accidents. He explained he assaulted Mr. Chen to make an example because other businesses were watching, and if one person refuses, the entire system collapses. He described this as a family tradition taught by his father and grandfather over 3 generations. The pause that follows is heavy. When Agent Martinez speaks, there's barely controlled excitement in his voice. Your Honor, Vincent Russo just described a textbook RICO enterprise. A multi-generational organized crime operation. Systematic extortion. Violence enforcement. Territorial control. This is exactly what we've been trying to prove for 3 decades. Attorney Park adds, Your Honor, Vincent Russo's statements constitute a full confession to RICO violations. If he's claiming his father ran this operation for 40 years and transferred it to him, both are prosecutable under federal RICO statutes. Vincent finally understands. Wait, Your Honor, I didn't mean, I was just explaining. Mr. Russo, Judge Caprio says calmly, you confessed to running an organized crime enterprise. You did so proudly. Agent Martinez continues, Your Honor, we have agents already in Providence. We can be at the courthouse in 15 minutes. Please do so immediately. The call disconnects. Anthony Russo stands, staring at his son with a mixture of fury and despair. Vincent, you just destroyed our family. Everything we built. Everything we protected. You confessed to RICO charges in open court. Vincent is crying now. Dad, I was just explaining how things work. I didn't know it was illegal. You told me it was family business. It is illegal, Anthony snaps. That's why we never talk about it. That's why we use codes, intermediaries, layers. You just told a federal judge we run a 47 business protection racket. Exactly 45 seconds later, the courtroom doors open. 6 FBI agents enter alongside U.S. Marshals and Assistant U.S. Attorney Park. The lead FBI agent steps forward. Your Honor, I'm Special Agent Lisa Chen. We have warrants for both Vincent Russo and Anthony Russo. She turns to Anthony. Anthony Tony the Hammer Russo, you're under arrest for RICO violations, extortion, and racketeering. Your son just testified that you ran a protection racket for 40 years. That's the confession we needed. She turns to Vincent. Vincent Russo, you're under arrest for RICO violations, extortion, and assault. You confessed to running an organized crime enterprise on the record, in court. Both father and son are placed in handcuffs. 3 generations of Russo family organized crime ended by a son too proud of his heritage to realize it was criminal. Judge Caprio addresses Vincent. Mr. Russo, your pride in your family tradition just sent both you and your father to federal prison. The assault charge is now the least of your concerns. Within weeks, the FBI raids 47 Federal Hill businesses, documenting the extortion network. 12 additional Russo associates are arrested. The organization is dismantled. Vincent faces 20 years in federal prison. His father faces 40. Thomas Chen reopens his restaurant. Federal authorities provide security. Federal Hill businesses are finally free. Months later, Vincent meets Thomas Chen through the federal prison video system as part of a cooperation agreement. Mr. Chen, I assaulted you because you wouldn't pay protection money. I threatened to burn your restaurant, ruin your business, destroy your life. I confessed to running a 47 business extortion ring in court because I was proud of it. I thought it was family tradition. I destroyed my father's freedom, and our entire organization because I didn't understand that what my family taught me was a crime. I'm sorry. Thomas accepts his apology through the screen. Of Vincent, your family taught you that power means hurting people who don't obey. Now you're in prison learning that isn't power. That's crime. Maybe someday you'll understand the difference. If this story moved you, subscribe for more moments where Judge Frank Caprio proves no family tradition, no organized crime heritage, places anyone above the law. Remember Vincent's words that destroyed everything, it's family tradition. My father taught me. That's the legacy of Judge Frank Caprio. That's the courage of Thomas Chen. That's the justice of the FBI. Justice served. RICO dismantled, extortion ended, Federal Hill freed.